Good afternoon. Today I wanted to share 3 tips that I find extremely helpful and, in my opinion, necessary if you want to be a non-drinker and still attend social events, still hang out with your friends who may or may not drink. And it's especially helpful if you were somebody who did previously drink and now you've decided to stop. Because you changing to people can scare them because you're not who you once used to be. And a lot of people don't like change. I won't get into that, but I will touch upon the 3 tips that I find extremely helpful that I used myself in order to be okay to be the one who wasn't drinking. When once upon a time, I was the one who was always drinking. And I realize now that I was always drinking because I was uncomfortable in social settings. I had a lot of anxiety around people. I didn't want to say or do the wrong thing. When ironically, when I drank, I did that anyway. I also didn't want to go to a lot of social events because I'm an introvert. And I would go because I didn't understand what was wrong with me and why I didn't want to go or be around people. So drinking helped me to calm my nerves and to then be social. And once I stopped drinking, a lot of people, they weren't okay with that. And I realized that the people who weren't okay with it tended to be the ones who had their own insecurities around their own drinking. And that makes sense. So my first tip, if you want to be somebody who's not drinking and still maintain a social life, or just you want to not drink and not have people bother you about it, the first tip is you have to stop caring what people think about you. This can be extremely challenging if you, like me, grew up in a family and a culture that really valued what other people thought. There's always this saying, what will the neighbors say? And I would be like, what neighbors? We don't even have neighbors. But there's that fear put in you of judgment. People are going to judge you. And that has taken me a long time. I haven't dealt with it completely. I've gotten a lot better at it. It's taken me a while to knock down those walls of this arbitrary neighbor who is going to judge me. And so if you stop caring what people think, you're not going to care anymore when they make those jabs or comments about why you're not drinking. And don't feel obligated to give somebody a reason why you're not drinking. If someone asks you why, don't feel like it. Why are you asking? Flip the question on them and then they can give you an explanation as to why it's so important to them that you're drinking. This leads me to tip number 2, which is very related to tip number 1. It is still different. And that is, you cannot people please. Yeah, this was a tough one. They're all tough. They all were tough. And once you start working on them, you feel so good and so free. And people pleasing, believe it or not, is a form of manipulation. That's right. So every time you people please, you are subtly, passive aggressively manipulating that person so that they view you a certain way, so they don't judge you, so they don't not like you. So that's why point 1 and 2 tie together. You just have to not give a shit about anybody else's opinion of you, period. And how you get to that is just practice. Healing that inner child that wants everyone's approval, that wants to be loved. You got to give yourself that. No one else is going to give it to you. And you know what? You say to yourself, there are always going to be people who judge me, no matter what. No matter how good you do, it's never going to be enough for some people. So there are some people that you cannot please. So aim to please yourself, and that's it. Tip number 3. You have to have boundaries. You have to have boundaries for yourself. You have them with yourself, and you have them with other people. So for yourself, if you say, I'm going to go to that party tonight, but I'm leaving at 10 o'clock, no matter what. You need to make a pact to yourself that no matter what anyone says or does, you are leaving at 10 o'clock. And so that's where the not caring about what people think and the people pleasing can't happen. Because if you let someone say, oh, well, you never come out, I never get to see you anymore, you're not fun anymore, then you're going to end up staying. So you need to have boundaries. And you need to tell that person who's needing you to stay, I have to leave at 10 o'clock. And you don't give them a reason. You don't let them argue with you. It's just, that's it. You don't leave that door open for them to wedge their way in and try to get you to stay. No, I'm leaving at 10. It was nice to see you. Bye, Felicia. And that's it. And that can be very scary at first because you love your friends, you love your family, you don't want to let anyone down. But think of this, when you do stuff that you don't want to do, who are you letting down? Yourself. So those are my 3 tips on how you can still be social and be the non-drinker if other people around you are giving you a hard time. I hope those were helpful for you. They have been extremely helpful to me, and I will still continue using them. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and have a good evening. Bye.